Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw, editorial director at tigerfitness.com and Muscle and Brawn Nutrition CEO. Guys, it is Q&A Saturday. I have about 6 or 7 questions here that I'm going to cover. Before I get into these questions, guys, I want to remind you that if you have a question for me, there's a link to my Q&A below. You can head on over to that Q&A, post your question. I answer every question posted. The best questions I turn into a video like this. If I answered your question in this video, you can email me at steve.shaw@tigerfitness.com. I will send you a free copy of my book, Massive Iron. You can find all that information below. I'm going to link my email below, list my email below. And, excuse me, I had a request to link the time signatures, time stamps for each of the questions, and I'm going to do that so you can find that below. So guys, let's get into things here. The cigar I'm smoking today is a Punch. Sounds ridiculous, sounds silly. It's actually Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite. It has become my staple. This is a quality, mild flavored cigar. It isn't going to leave you, knock you for a loop with nicotine or anything like that. For you guys that don't know, you don't inhale a cigarette, or excuse me, don't inhale a cigar, so don't panic. It's not horrible on the lungs. Guys, I want to start off by reading kind of a question. Rather, it was more of a blindside attack on my Bearded Beast Facebook page. This was from Frank Garrett. This kind of unsettled me a little bit because he did a cheap shot. He left a comment and then blocked me so I couldn't respond. So it seemed like he was very frustrated, but I wanted to address this issue. Frank says, "Why do you always contradict yourself? You said before that Ian McCarthy was wrong, that barbell rows and deadlifts aren't optimal for back development. But then recently you said that for the first 3 years, people need high reps and assistance exercises, as in that you are agreeing with Ian McCarthy. Why you do this? Why you do this? Why you do this?" Okay, Frank, I'm not contradicting myself. I've been saying the same thing over and over and over again for 28 years. If there's anybody more consistent in this industry, it is me. I beat the same drum over and over again. I am not contradicting myself. I do disagree with Ian McCarthy. I do believe that barbell rows and deadlifts are the 2 primary back exercises. They are not the only back exercises. By me stating that they are the best exercise choices, this does not mean you should not do assistance exercises. When I train bro split-ish, I do deadlifts, I do a row, I do seated cable rows, I do V-bar pull downs, sometimes I do one-arm machine rows. So the rule of thumb is start off your routines with the big hitting exercises like deadlifts and barbell rows or dumbbell rows, and then move on to other exercises. Also, I did not say people during their first 3 years of training need high reps. I said they need conventional rep schemes, meaning 5 to 12 reps per set on average, somewhere in that range for most compound exercises, non-isolation exercises. That's not high reps, that's conventional reps, okay? There's a big difference. The point I was stressing is that trainees during their first 3 years do not need low rep sets, meaning singles, doubles, and triples, to build strength. That was the point I was making. So I am not contradicting myself. Unfortunately, you are just incapable of understanding the information that I presented, and I'm sorry if I didn't make myself clear. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Let me get some coffee here. Nice big mug of black coffee. Okay, the next question is from What's Next. What's Next says, is getting stronger on bicep curls correlated to the size of the bicep muscle itself? In other words, compare a guy being able to do 2 sets by 10 reps with 22-pound dumbbells and another who can do 2x10 with 45-pound dumbbells? Does the second guy necessarily have bigger biceps? Is it genetic rated, or the amount of volume every session more important? Okay. First off, you need to understand that shape is genetic. Some guys have long biceps like me. I have a long bicep, but it looks impressive when it hangs at my side, but when I pull it up here, it looks like a giant potato. Some guys don't have impressive biceps when their arms are hanging at their side, but when they bring it up here, it balls up like a hard ball. So the point here is that shape can make a bicep look more impressive naturally. So some guys just naturally have a better shape than others. But with regards to strength, I can't say that somebody curling 45 pounds has bigger arms than somebody curling 22 arms. It is likely that 22-pound dumbbells, somebody curling 45-pound dumbbells, I can't say that they have bigger arms than somebody curling 22-pound dumbbells. Some guys start with a more genetically gifted, strength levels than others. Strength is important, not strength progression. It doesn't matter where you start. You have to push yourself on any body part. It's not about end limit strength or necessarily getting as strong as you can. It's about consistently progressing or pushing yourself so you encourage that muscle to grow. You don't need to start with volume. You don't need to start with high volume. You need to spend 2-3 years progressing using progressive overload, and then maybe along the journey, if you notice maybe my biceps can handle a little bit more volume, I'm going to play with that. Hey, maybe my biceps, I'm picking up tendonitis, I have to drop the volume. It's about adjustments at that point. So volume can be increased if you feel it's important, but the key thing for bicep size, for size of any muscle group, is progressive overload. A lot of guys mistake me saying this, or mistake me talking about this, and think it means that I'm talking about 1 rep max strength. It's not about 1 rep max strength. It's about challenging your muscle from where it is now, small improvements, maximizing every set, pushing these sets for as many reps as possible, adding weight when you can. You gotta push your muscles in the gym. At some point, you're gonna build a lot of strength, and then you can do other things, maybe to finish off or to chisel off that muscle. You know, drop sets, maybe a slightly more volume, rest pause training, whatever. But once you've built a core amount of strength, you probably have built a quality amount of size, and you're not going to have much more size to build. At that point, you can really train however you want. It has to become more instinctive, and you have to evolve your training based on needs. I hope that helps. The next question is from Lifelong Learner. Lifelong Learner says, "Hey Steve, it's me again. I love watching your videos, and especially the Saturday Q&As. Thanks, I appreciate you tuning in. I was wondering, for the next Saturday Q&A, would you be able to timestamp the questions in the description box?" Absolutely. I'm going to do that below. Look for that. I'm going to start doing that every Saturday. All right, next question is from Denis. Denis says, "Hey Steve, I only found your channel around 2 months ago, but it's really refreshing to see an actual learned gym enthusiast who knows something and doesn't fancy up videos by incorporating fancy music and hot chicks." Yeah, I don't exactly have hot chicks wandering around the house. So I do have one, my fiance Becky, but I've always tried to keep it about information and information alone. And in some ways that prevents the channel from growing, because I'm not doing a lot of stupid, ridiculous stuff. But I'm going to stick with this game plan. I'm going to keep just trying to focus on information. Occasionally I put out a crazy video on a topic that gets me fired up. But other than that, it's going to be all about training, diet, nutrition, the basics. So Denis goes on to say, "I'm 19 and have been lifting for a year. I used to be really fat, and because I was bullied, I thought the gym was a great option. I've lost a lot of weight. with reasonable muscle gains. Most people always say how big I've gotten, so he's getting some people noticing his muscle gains. He's lost fat as well. The thing is, he goes, the thing is, I've never bulked or cut. What are your thoughts on those who go through these bulk cut bulk cycles? I've never seen it make enough of a difference to be worth it. All right, this is a very good question. The bulk cut bulk cycles. Look, a lot of people don't know how to bulk properly. A quality bulk, and a lot of people don't know what natural expectations are. Therefore, with that combination in mind, people not knowing how fast you can gain muscle naturally, and people not monitoring or properly structuring or researching a bulk, they tend to just overeat. And what happens is they gain weight too rapidly. They look in the mirror, they've gained 15, 20 pounds of fat in a year, and they go on a cut. So these guys will do over-aggressive bulks, and then they'll look in the mirror, and then they'll be forced to do a cut because they don't like the way they look. Here's some things you need to know about a bulk. First off, you need to get a $20, $15 skin fold caliper off Amazon and monitor your skin folds up here by your chest, down here by your gut, and on your thigh. You don't need to necessarily know your body fat, but I want you to monitor those at least once a month, if not every 2 weeks, looking for trends. Take 3 readings to get an average up here on your thigh and side of your gut. Take 3 readings to get an average. What you're looking for is changes in your body fat level that are too rapid. Rapid changes, rapid jumps. You also want to get on the scale and make sure, first thing in the morning after you do your business, you want to monitor your weight to make sure you're not gaining weight too quickly. Now I'm going to address that. Natural lifting is like a cup or a mug. This is the amount of gains you get naturally with your natural hormone levels. Every sip you take is another pound of muscle you built. Every pound of muscle you pull from your natural genetic pool, you have a pound less to pull. So it's finite. It's finite. There's been a lot of research on this subject, but unfortunately a lot of people aren't aware with the research, and I'll make a video on this in the future. Let me just sum it up like this. This is just averages. This is just general advice. It's not meant to be a limitation. But first-year lifters should aim for 12 to 16 pounds of muscle mass. They should aim for a 12 to 16 pound muscle mass increase. Now, not everybody's going to be able to do that. A lot of lifters make mistakes during their first year and don't train properly. But on the average, if you do things right, you should expect a 12 to 16 pound muscle mass increase during your first year. Now, every year thereafter, you cut that number in half. The more muscle you build, the harder it becomes to build muscle, the closer you get to your natural genetic limits. So 12 to 16 pounds of muscle mass the first year, 6 to 8 the second, 3 to 4 the third, 1 to 2 the fourth, etc., etc. After the 4th year, if you've been doing it that long, you pretty much built as much muscle mass as you're going to naturally, and you'll be scratching out ounces. So, with that in mind, you now are able to structure a bulk properly. Knowing that if you're an absolute novice and you can build 12 to 16 pounds of muscle your first year, to minimize the fat gains, you really don't want to add more than 2 pounds of muscle, or 2 pounds a month. That would be 24 pounds. Even then, that would be on a little bit on the aggressive side. So I would say, you know, 1.75 pounds, 1.5 pounds to 1.75 pounds, maybe 2 pounds a month if you find yourself to be an easy gainer or you have a very fast metabolism. So that's a general guideline for your first year. During your second year, because you can only gain 6 to 8 pounds of muscle, you probably want to gain only 1 pound of weight on the scale a month. So you can see the first year you went to from about 1.5 to 2 pounds a month. The second year, 1 pound a month. The third year, about a half pound a month. After that third year, you know, you probably want to stick about that half pound a month for the next couple of years. This will allow you to maximize the muscle building process, minimize fat gain, but you have to take initiative, you have to monitor the scale, and you can't just randomly eat calories and have no idea what the scale is doing. That is the biggest reason why guys fail to gain muscle, and that is the biggest reason why guys bulk too aggressively. They aren't monitoring what is happening on the scale. So, if you want precise results, if you want to be able to maximize the muscle building process and do a lean bulk, you have to monitor what's going on in some way, shape, or form. So, again, guys during their first year, 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds a month. Guys during their second year of lifting, about 1.75 pounds to 1 pound of body weight a month. And after that, about 0.5 pound a month. You do this and bulk properly, and over the course of 3 years, you could gain 25 pounds of muscle and maybe 12 to 15 pounds of fat. That seems like a lot, maybe 10, 12 pounds of fat, whatever. It seems like a lot, but over the course of 3 years, if you pack on 25 pounds of muscle, you're gonna look like Hercules. Then you can simply do a 2-month cut, boom, you're done. You have tons of natural muscle mass, you're pretty much set for life. So yeah, don't bulk aggressively, and I don't think anybody needs a bulk cut, bulk cycle. They're just foolish and usually the result of over-aggressive bulks. Let me get some coffee here. Next question is from What's Next. He says, Bearded Babies, big fan from France. I'm a late beginner, very early intermediate. I've been training for 6 to 7 months. He says he's 18 years old, 6 foot 205. His squat is 253 pounds, bench press 265, deadlift 375, and overhead press 155. So he's got a decent deadlift, a decent bench, squats lagging behind a bit, but his overhead press is strong. He got to this point using strong lift 5x5, so he's making consistent progression. Now he says these numbers may not be very impressive. No, they actually are. They're quality progress for what you've been doing with strong lifts, so well done. However, I'm planning on losing about 30 pounds in order to get to around 175 and start a lean bulk afterwards. As you advised in one of your recent videos, this is the smartest thing to do in my case. Considering my strength, limited experience level, young age, recovery abilities, do you think I can lose 30 pounds of fat without losing any strength? Well, you're about at early intermediate to, early intermediate stage as far as your strength goes. Will you be able to hold strength while losing fat? No one can say for certain. All I can say is don't worry about strength. Your goal right now is to lose fat. You're unhappy with how you look in the mirror. You're unhappy with that. That is your goal now. So for the next 3-4 months or however it takes you to lose this weight, that's your goal. You still have to go into the gym and focus on progressive overload. That is your mission. You lower your calories slightly. You still focus on progressive overload. Focus on the things you can control. Don't worry if you lose a little strength. Don't worry if you lose a little strength. You have to you have to be very focused when it comes to cuts. You have to be focused on the important things. I lost a lot of strength when I went on my cut. Even though I focused on progressive overload, I still lost strength. You're at that earlier intermediate stage of lifting. You could still possibly gain strength in some of your lifts. Some of your lifts you might lose strength. Bench press especially might take a hit. Right now you're pretty strong on the bench. But bench press, in my experience responds to calories and food, so there's a good chance you might lose some pressing strength. Deadlift strength, it could go up. Squats could still go up because your squats are lagging. But the biggest thing I want to tell you, excuse me, is not to worry about strength. Focus on the things you can control. Getting a proper cutting diet set up and going into the gym and trying to progress, trying to maximize sets. Those are the things you can control. And even if you do lose a little bit of strength, once you start back on that lean bulk, you'll gain it back. If you do lose a little bit of strength, it isn't going to be much. So I hope that helps. 2 more questions left, guys. Hey Steve, this is from Dave FK. Let me make sure I didn't skip a page here, guys. Okay, 2 more questions left. Dave FK says, hey Steve, I liked your recent deadlift video. I tried out the power strokes for the first time. It was fun being the loudest guy at the gym, smashing down 545 in the squat rack. Read your book. For those of you that don't have it, it's called Massive Iron. It's only $14.99. You can find a link below. This isn't some same old training book. It has 200 pages of content. It has pillars that'll help you maximize any training program, and it also has about 20 sample workout routines. So please check out Massive Iron. That's the book Dave was referencing. Now Dave said, I've got real motivated to lift some heavy ass barbells and dumbbells and to really go all out every set. What's the best back exercise to start an upper mid back workout with? All right, this is a good question. On any muscle group or any workout, there is a hierarchy of exercises. You want to do your explosive or technical exercises first, say power cleans or clean variations, then maybe your heavy compound movements like deadlifts, and then you move on to dumbbell or barbell rows, and then if you still have anything in the tank, you could do seated cable rows, V-bar, pull-downs, pull-ups, etc. So most people aren't doing power cleans on their workout during their back workouts. So given that you're doing deadlifts already, after deadlifts, I strongly recommend one-arm dumbbell rows, and here's why. Barbell rows are a perfectly good exercise choice, but one-arm dumbbell rows allows more weight per arm. When I was at my peak, I could barbell row 405 pounds for 5 reps. I could one-arm dumbbell row 270 pounds for 10 reps. So 270 would be the equivalent of 540 pounds with both arms. So you can see when you do one arm at a time, you're able to use more weight. Also, dumbbell rows put less stress on the lower back. So overall, after you do deadlifts, I like to see a trainee probably do one-arm dumbbell rows as a primary choice. Again, barbell rows are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Sometimes I do both, but my best choice for you would be one-arm dumbbell rows. After that, if you want to do some barbell rows, if you want to do seated cable rows, if you want to do machine rows, if you want to do V-bar pull-downs, you want to do pull-ups, go ahead. But that's what I would do first. If you're going to do power cleans, lead off, then do deadlifts. Don't overwork the reps on power cleans, okay? That's a mistake a lot of people make. Deadlifts and then one-arm dumbbell rows and then whatever, your extra back work. Last question is from Eukleides. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He says, Steve, got a question for you. Is it better to train the stomach vacuum before or after more dynamic ab work, or doesn't matter? Now, here's what Eukleides is asking. He's doing stomach vacuum work, and this is something that's very old school. You don't see a lot of guys doing this anymore. He's wondering if he should do it before or after doing his regular abdominal work, like planks, cable crunches, whatever he's doing, ab wheel rollouts. Again, this goes back to, I'm going to default back to the answer from the last question on back work. There is a hierarchy of lifts. There's a hierarchy of structuring your lifts. You want to do the most taxing lifts first, and then move on to the less taxing. You want to do explosive, heavy compound movements, and then less taxing lifts, and then finally isolation exercises. So looking at ab work, you want to do your resistance or progressive training first. So if you're doing ab wheel rollouts, cable crunches, planks, whatever, that's the strength training work. That's the progressive work. That's the work where you're trying to push yourself. So I would do that first, and then I would do the stomach vacuum stuff after the fact. You could also do stomach vacuum stuff on off days, but I would probably do it after you do your regular ab work. So start with your regular ab work, get your strength training in, build your ab strength and muscle, do your ab strength and muscle building work, and then move on to your stomach vacuum work. So guys, again, if I featured your question in this Q&A, check out my email below. You can email me. I send you a free copy of my book. If you have questions that you'd like me to answer, I take the best, answer every question. There's a Q&A link below. Post your question up in that Q&A link. The best questions I turn into a video like I did today for Q&A Saturday. Guys, if you made it this far in this video and you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate your support. Again, please check out all my social links below. Connect with me. I got social links down there to VK, to Snapchat, etc. So Instagram, I have a Bearded Beast Facebook page, etc. So hook up with me, connect with me on there. And guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.